other big story we're looking at, it was initially described as rhetoric in the run-up to the US elections, but there's been an underlying unease. And then the new American president made his position totally unambiguous, that too at his inauguration. Buy American, hire American was Donald Trump's inauguration pledge. Earlier, in fact, this month, 2 US Congressmen reintroduced a bill to curb the use of H-1B visa. So what can Indian IT really do? Joining us now, R Chandrashekhar, President of industry body NASSCOM. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time to be with us today. Sir, India is the world's largest outsourcing destination as far as IT goes. You've got some 70% of a $130 billion global market. How worried should we be?
Well, there are obviously some concerns about steps that could be taken. But at the same time, I think what we need to recognize is what President Trump has said is something which is completely consistent with what he has said on the campaign trail. That their objective is to create jobs in the US. It is to provide job opportunities for people in the US. And that's exactly what he said even after his inauguration. The question which arises is...
Were you expecting it so early on in his inauguration pledge?
Well, I think it was not a surprise, frankly. But I think what's important to recognize is that the very pledge of creating jobs in the US, how central a role that the IT industry of India plays in that agenda.
Right.
So we don't look at it just as something that we gain. This industry actually plays a pivotal role in job creation in the US in 3 different ways. Number 1, it's a direct creator of jobs. Right now there are 156,000 jobs which were created. This is as of 2015, direct jobs created. If you take the indirect jobs created, because the norm is that you have a 1.6 support jobs which are there for every one job, then the number of indirect jobs, if you add, it swells to 411,000.
Let me just ask you, so you're trying to say that if he's talking about job creation, that Indian IT has actually gone a long way in doing that and will perhaps do that for America even in the years ahead.
There's a critical role, yes.
Sure, but Philip First, of this, the CEO of research firm Horses for Sources, says that the Indian IT services majors should be more concerned by President Trump's position on outsourcing than any other factor over the past 20 years. He's of course referring, when he says majors, to the giants like Infosys, Wipro, TCS and so on. But do you believe that we can reach out, that middle ground can be found, that we don't need to get alarmed just yet, or is there enough cause for worry? I know you're saying it's not surprising, but is it worrying?
No, I think the question is that what we need to really do is to reach out and communicate the impact that this industry makes. If you look at the job creation, apart from the first 2 factors that I mentioned, the third and arguably most important contribution to job creation in the US is that this industry provides services to 75% of the Fortune 500 companies. And the job creation engine of the US is corporate America. Everyone knows that.
Right.
And for them to remain globally competitive, for them to become more efficient, and for them to continue to create jobs, these services are essential. So I think that's the part that needs to be better communicated and better understood. That's number 1. Can some policies cause damage to India or the Indian industry?
Because there are millions of jobs that are being created here also, as we look at outsourcing, back end work, and all of that. And Indian IT's played a huge role in India's growth story.
Absolutely, but I think we have to look at what are the fundamental reasons for the growth of the industry here. It is because the US economy and the US does not have enough qualified people. It's well known. All the statistics of the US government show that.
Right.
Whether you look at the unemployment figures in the tech space, which is below 2%, anything below 4% is regarded as a shortage. The second is, if you look at the number of unfilled jobs in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, it's almost 2.4 million if you look at all of STEM. And if you look at only computer related, it's half of that number, more than half, about 1.2 million.
So in this, how do you see the whole visa issue that has now come up? I mean, we've heard Vishal Sikka say that we'll have to just then look for local talent. The best talent is coming from India. So how does that play?
The question, the first and the most absolute question is whether the talent is available there. Absolutely. I'll give you an example of, TCS, which had tried to recruit locally. They interviewed, I'm told, about 4,000 people and found only about 20 people who were actually qualified. So there is a shortage there, and not only is there a shortage as per their own statistics, if you look even at enrollment in universities, more than 50% are foreigners. Even if you want to employ people from US universities, you need a visa to employ such people.
Fair enough. I'm running out of time, but last question, a NASSCOM team is going to the US next month. So are you hoping to iron out some of these issues?
I think what we certainly want to do is to say that A, we are aligned behind President Trump's agenda of creating jobs in the US, and this is the way in which we contribute to that. The second is, if job opportunities for Americans needs to be protected, by all means do it. Don't leave any holes or any gaps, because automatically you will ensure that you only plug it to the extent that your system can support.
Absolutely.
If you don't, then only two things can happen. Either the job remains unfilled, either the job remains unfilled, or it goes out of the country, which is worse.
Fair enough. Well, so you may have some leverage there, Chandrasekhar. Thanks so much for coming in to speak to us. Pleasure to have you on the program. Well, on that note, it's a wrap on Left, Right, Center. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.